almost exclusively focused on coaching entrepreneurs. So, I've coached a lot, 6,000 or so. And they're very different from each other. There's no personality type, there's no particular skill that identifies an entrepreneur, but it's that I think one thing is that freedom is always more important to you than security. If you have a choice between something that's really secure or something that you're free to, you're free to make it be what you want it to be, you choose freedom. And in coach, of course, we have the
Okay, so what I love about this is this is really important because I've seen over and over again a lot of creatives, a lot of coaches. There's a video I just did about, just being something. Are you just an editor? Are you just a this? Are you just a that? And I find that a lot of people who are just something, which there's nothing bad about, but they're just not typically super entrepreneurial. It doesn't make it wrong, it doesn't make it bad, but they'll tend to choose security over freedom. And I've seen people who literally, and some of you, you'll know, like just when I say what I'm about to say, it's going to create thoughts and feelings inside of you, which will give you some of the answers of the truth for you. So when I say this, if you were, so in this I've seen it with like video editors, because that's a lot of my background in the past before I've done coaching more full time, coaching and speaking, doing all that I'm doing now, is that I have seen editors who could make, let's say, $60,000 to $80,000 a year. But one month they might make 8,000, the next month they may make 500, the next month they may make zero, the next month 3,000, 4,000, 2,000, 2,500, 0, 5,000, whatever. However the math comes out, but the math is very inconsistent, right? Get paid a bunch one month, not much the next month, not much at all. And I have seen those same people literally choose to make less money because they know they'll get the same amount of money every 2 weeks. Now, can people change over time? Yeah. But I think that freedom becomes the most important thing rather than security. And when security is more important, entrepreneurship is really scary and it's really tough because I don't know really any entrepreneur that literally is replicated. I mean, they reach certain levels and maybe it gets replicated, but they're never, only the employees or the contractors get paid consistently the same amount. But entrepreneurs don't. You might reach a point where they're making $20,000 a month every month, but they might be making 25,000. They might be making, well, they still might. That's the thing. They may not go below things, but they could have 20,000, 40,000, 30,000, 60,000, 70,000, 80,000, 100,000, 5,000, 5,000, 20,000, right? That could happen. It could average out where it's never less than 20, right? But at the end of the day, the likelihood is that on clockwork, the entrepreneur is making exactly $20,000 every month, like clockwork. I just don't know anybody who does that. They're always having inconsistent incomes. Employees have consistent incomes. Entrepreneurs have inconsistent incomes. And so a lot of people who are more security driven have a really difficult time with the inconsistent income part. It doesn't make you wrong, it doesn't make you bad, but it'll just have you have a hard time building a business because it's inconsistent. And you have to almost fall in love with the insecurity of not having the security and not having the consistency. You got to have some people say, a few marbles loose to a degree to put up with the inconsistency, the scariness, the lack of having the same amount of money coming in. So I've seen people do that. They just go and get employed somewhere. You can still be a contractor, but they like that consistency. Again, doesn't make you wrong, doesn't make you right, it doesn't make you bad. None of that. We got to get that out of our minds that this is better or this is worse. Not having money for I don't know what'll happen if I don't make money in 2 weeks. There's too much pressure and too much force, and a lot of people, depending on what kind of traumas and things you've had in your life, that could just be exhausting, and you don't have enough energy in your tank to put up with that, and then it takes away from you creating your best work. So for me, I love people to not view things in a black and white, this or that, either or lens, and that is something where I believe we can prove just about anything. Some things come more naturally to some than others. So some people are already very literal and very black and white thinkers, and some people are not. If you're not, it'll take practice and awareness to become less of it. I think it's a trait that's really worth practicing, because I think that being too literal too often, depending on what the context is, can cause a lot of trouble. So when you think that I'm wrong if I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm bad if I'm not an entrepreneur, right? I'm only a good, successful person if I'm an entrepreneur because there's a lot of people you follow who are inspired by who are entrepreneurs. Then if that's just too much for you right now and too difficult and causing too much stress and anxiety, then you need to go do something that mitigates that in the short term while you can work on yourself. I mean, I got lots of stories, so I'm not going to go into all now, but like there was a time where I was really struggling to make money doing this whole coaching and speaking thing. I almost went bankrupt. And I chose right before I turned 30 and right before I got married in 2016 to put on hold for the time being, trying to make money as a coach, trying to make money as a speaker. And for 2 years, I focused on the thing that I knew how to make money in, that I could pretty much effortlessly, what felt like almost on autopilot because of a decade of prior buildup, to make money. I took care of my family. I took care of what was necessary. And the whole time I went deep and I dug inside and I learned and I grew before I kicked back up 2 whole years, almost 2.5, before I tried to make any money again off of coaching. In 2019, I kicked it back up. And by 2020 on, I've had a few bumps, which I won't get into in this one, but I've more or less been able to make my whole living off of coaching since COVID hit. And it's been incredible. But that took me willing to take a pivot, willing to kind of slow down to speed back up and to really diagnose and dive in. But I was willing to go on that ride. And I know I'll be that much better off because of it. And so some of you need to slow down to speed up. Some of you need to take a break from what you've been pushing so hard on because you're so exhausted and you're really just a hamster in a wheel, spinning and not going anywhere. You're like on a rocking chair. You're moving back and forth, but you're not moving anywhere. Well, at least not somewhere farther than where you are. And it won't be until you can kind of get back in and lower your anxiety, lower your stress, lower all your worries, dig inside, get a bigger picture, figure out what's going on, and then be able to find out what's better for you, what's best for you. Run it through the who am I filter. Who am I? What do I love? What do I want? Not what Sally, Susie, or anybody outside of you wants. What do you want? And what's going to work best for you? And maybe you don't know that right now. So maybe you need to experiment and explore more. It just depends on where you're at. But don't make yourself wrong because you end up going to get some form of employment or, less looking like you're owning the whole business, because you could still have great success and a lot of fun not being the entrepreneur and not taking on all that stress and all that risk. It doesn't make you any less than. It just makes you, to me, smart to work on the thing that you're going to be able to do your best with versus something you're nothing but stressed with. So I love the rhymes. God dang. Michael Gabin, the Mind Mechanic, tuning up hearts and minds one at a time so your dreams don't die in your heart, your head, or hard drive. I'm here to help you become the mechanic of your mind. Enjoying these videos, like, subscribe. Definitely leave me a comment. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you would like me to coaches commentate. I say the coaches commentary. But anyways, appreciate you being here. I hope you find these helpful. I want to help expand your mind to help you feel less stressed and more blessed. So keep rocking, keep rolling. We'll talk soon. Take care.